Hey, Black women. I hope everybody's doing well today. Okay. I came because I wanted to speak to a couple of things that I see quite a few people having an issue with online. And again, the issue is Black women mostly, our social conditions, the things that we go through, and we can't find the actual coping skills to deal with these things correctly and to get them addressed so that we benefit ourselves in the future and we stop continuing to be the patsy for everybody in this country, for white people with their patriarchy, for Black males and their anti-Black womenness, for all other non-Black people who just have anti-Blackness and hate towards us. We have to find ways to cope with those things and actually get to the point where we can see what we're dealing with, know what we're dealing with, and address it accordingly so that we benefit in every situation. So as we know, we got an election coming up. Black women is really important, right? It's really important for you to understand that you have got to vote for Kamala Harris. You have to understand that this is not about trying to back Black males. This is not about trying to go along with religion and feeling like you need to be validated by a male of any kind. This is honestly about you understanding that you have literally got to stand up for your rights before you absolutely lose them. Now, I don't know how many of you know what literally the Human Rights Act says, or the ERA, or the Civil Rights Act of 1965 says, but you need to be aware of the fact that if you sit home and don't do anything, you're giving Donald Trump your vote. And in giving Donald Trump your vote, you're moving closer to living in a form of modern day slavery. I know you don't want to accept that or believe that, but this is America. You have already seen these racist white people carry out bans against Muslims. You all want to believe that it was beautiful when Trump was in office, but it was not. When he was in office, we were suffering through COVID. We were suffering through mass loss of employment. We were suffering through people losing their businesses and not being allowed to regain them again or open them back up. We were suffering with millions of deaths of people from COVID. We were suffering with high inflation, even though you don't want to believe that, and you don't want to pay attention to how the government really works and learn how civics works, because there's no president that can sign off checks to you. There is only the Congress that can either approve or disapprove, fund any type of money in America. That is the job of the Congress, not the president. And if you don't know, that has to be voted on. And when that is voted on, then it's allowed to pass. And what happened in that case when Nancy Pelosi at the time was the House leader, she got both sides of Congress to say yes to stimulating the economy. That's the part y'all are not remembering. We had to stimulate the economy, which is why you got stimulus checks. It was not because Trump gave a fuck about your living conditions or you being poor. No, it was to bring life back into the economy, to feed the country. It had not one damn thing to do with you. So you need to understand that. Because if they really cared about you in the sense of trying to help you, they would have adopted programs like Kamala Harris's Lift Up program, where it's a form of a universal income program where people actually get additional money to help live their everyday life. And we spoke about this intensely a year ago. However, what I want to talk to you today is about a few things. I'll tell you before I get into it. I want to show you a free film where white people are so heavily intent on being afraid of losing control, where they would actually have to be inclusive and truly democratic in sharing the resources, sharing the wealth, sharing the home ownership, the right for people to have businesses and to get on equal footing with white people in this country. That what they are doing is they know that most immigrants and migrants cannot vote in elections for whatever reasons, right? They know felons can't vote in elections. So the main demographic of group of people that they must suppress their vote is Black women and only the Black males who can vote, right? So I want to show you what they're doing in certain states where they're not allowing Black people to vote at all. This is a violation of your rights, all your rights. And this is only the beginning of what will happen to you if you allow Trump to become president. I want you to know before we get into this that there are ways to fight back against anything that is happening in this country. So do not feel completely defeated or helpless and hopeless as you are watching this, simply because state attorneys will just have to get up and they will have to actually become overly active in stopping the voter suppression. This has already gone to court once or twice, so it's not like this is a secret. People are aware of it. But I want you to be real clear about this. This is a last chance attempt for white people to maintain and fully get all the white people in this country to stand and back white supremacy, because they don't feel like they need to live in, they don't want to live in a country where everybody else has the same rights as them. They want to be up here, white people in America, because they try to pretend like this is their country only and no one else's, when it's not. Because please keep in mind and remember, everyone, white people are not from America. They're European Americans, the same way the rest of us have an annex to our name or a prefix. They also have one. So they're not true Americans. They come from Europe. So keep that in mind. So, and I want you to burn that into your brain to remember that they do not deserve anything more than you deserve in America. You deserve the same. And Black people deserve more because we were here before the Indians they created, the Native American Indians they created, because we're the first people of the earth. So we were here first before anybody else. So, but get to it. I want you to watch this film. So, and it's a few things you get out of this film. You get what they're doing to suppress your vote, because they can't win fair and square. They have to always cheat, lie, and manipulate the outcome because they're weak and they're a minority in America. I keep telling you, stop believing that shit about 13 to 16% because it's not true. And this is what they tell you so that they could make you feel defeated and make you feel like you can't win and that you're not able to fight them or challenge them back. You can always fight. You can always win. The way you win simply, without me even going through all this information I'm going to show you today, is go to the polls. Take a girlfriend to the polls. Take your mother to the poll. Take your grandmother. Take 4 people to the poll and make sure they all vote for Kamala and vote for all the Democrats down the line. Vote Democrat down the whole ticket. Every Black person in America. And I guarantee you, Kamala will win by millions. Because the reason Black people never get to be heard in elections and the country doesn't change to work for our benefit is because Black people sit their ass home on the couch. They don't vote. They listen to stupid Black dudes that tell them, oh, your vote don't matter. And they sit down. They get left out of the process and they get rolled the fuck over. When you vote for someone to put them in office, that's not enough. You have to stay on their ass to make sure they deliver to you what they promised. That's the president, okay? The senators and the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives and the Senate, they make up the Congress, okay? And senators are, every 6 years, I believe it is, you got to vote for them. And the House of Representatives is every 2. Those are your like congressmen. So listen, you have got to understand that you got to get active in this government, understand how it works, so it could begin to benefit you in ways that is going to be beneficial for decades and generations to come. So let's watch this video, because in this video, you're going to see what they're doing. You're going to see the forms that you need to fill out, the people you need to contact, what you need to do to make sure your vote counts, even after the election is over. because they're going to have issues after the election. I'm going to tell you why. Oh, I didn't know I had something on my hands. Because Georgia is cheating, Texas is cheating. Most of the red states where they're known as swing states, Republican states that Trump desperately needs to get his 270 votes, electoral college votes. They're trying to play manipulation and control games with the black voters because they know that the black people in those states outnumber the whites. So if they keep the black people from voting, the small population of whites that they have, they'll be able to win. So this is why you have to learn to know what to do so that when you need to process these forms and complain to the people you need to complain to get your vote counted and to be able to be re-registered on those voter registration rolls, you get your say in this government. Let's begin. Let me go down to it and start it off. And for everybody that's going to watch this, I want you to know that this is a free film that was put together by SaveYourVote.org so that people are aware of what's going on and that they could do something about it. And they don't have to feel helpless and hopeless, because you don't have to feel helpless and hopeless. You have to always be informed and know what to do. And this is what I've been telling you guys since forever. If you stick together as one voting block, black women, vote for your best interest, forget everybody else, you're going to be, it'll work out better for you. So let's get to this and let's see what they have going on here. So I don't want to, well, I guess I'll do it afterwards. I don't want to do it right now. Black, and they all black. Look at the black woman on his mantle. Look at the pictures of the black people behind him. Mhm. Yep, yep. The grandfather clause. Yep. Me too, baby. I wasn't there, but my grandma told me. Nothing. Yeah, push up your body. Stacey! Yep. Stop with the religion. Get some. Stop with that shit. They just want to win. They want to cheat and win because they're losers. You're a liar. Nobody double you. Yeah, yeah, because white people can't get their way. How do you get him out of office? How do you charge him for this? Yeah, ain't it, Mister? Real. They talking about black and Hispanic. That's bullshit. He don't want to get robbed. Exactly. He doesn't want to get robbed. That's bullshit. That is illegal. You are not supposed to be tracking people for bullshit. That is illegal. Yeah, bullshit. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. This. Yep. Exactly. Exercising his civic rights. We go from here, vote for them bitch ass niggas out of office. Vote them all out, y'all. Vote them out. Get rid of these people. Y'all remember the movie Eagle Eye, y'all? They gonna screen your face and say that you're committing voter fraud. What people are ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. This is why you need to vote against all vote against all Republicans. Yep. They always cheat. Black people, they always cheat. That's why you gotta vote against them. Look how disgusting they look. They weird as fuck. Yup. Yes, they were. This is what you do. This is what they mean by make America great again. This is what they mean. attitude, baby. That's how you win. That's how you win. And you need to beat them. Yep. No, darling. You got to fight. Stab the shit out of them. Shot them up. Black women, y'all need to start carrying weapons on you. Start lighting their ass back. Stop being afraid of these people. Mm, absolutely. Make sure you say that. You know? Look how disgusting it is. Barbaric. I bet. Yes. And yep. Yep. And cut a baby. They cut a baby. And then they stomp the baby. This is white America, people. This is white America. These are Republicans. This is a hatred of Republicans. They were slave owners. because they all got and built off of slavery. Built off of slavery. In America, the hatred for black people. This is why you don't vote for them black people. Indeed, Mr.
Small business owner. It began with his run for state senate in a swing district with many black voters. So Kemp ran ads claiming his family fought segregation.
Carry on.
Former Senator Julian Cox, Brian Kemp's grandfather, boldly voted to integrate the University of Georgia. Those are the values that Brian Kemp was raised on.
When the record was completely different, they came up with a scheme that Mr. Cox supported, a scheme to essentially privatize the public school. State-sponsored, state-supported privatization of segregation.
That's a goddamn shame. And black people so
Kemp's unleashing Pam Reardon and the posse of vigilante voter challenges ran into a problem. Their first attempt to challenge voters was rejected by local elections boards. So Kemp added an extraordinary provision to SB 202. Kemp gave himself the right to remove any local elections commissioner that rejects the challenges. Helen Butler runs the voting rights organization that was founded by the Reverend Joseph Lowry. She was placed on the elections board for her expertise.
I was a member of the Board of Elections. I had been on the board since 2010, and I was on until June of 2021.
She is Mrs. Vote in Georgia. She's the one who taught me everything I know about voter registration and voter mobilization.
Civil rights attorney Gerald Griggs, famed for bringing R. Kelly to justice, is now president of the Georgia NAACP.
And they removed her.
Yes.
Why?
They removed her because, again, the provisions of SB 202 allow for a state takeover of local election boards. Another reason why we're suing.
They wanted people that were not as vocal as we were, wanted to make sure that they had total control of the Board of Elections.
Helen asked questions, and when Kemp didn't answer, she and reporter Palast won a federal court order forcing Kemp to open his voter purge files. Griggs was their attorney.
So you think it was retribution?
I mean, they won't say it's retribution, but what other reason would you take over that election board and remove Helen?
They wanted to make sure to silence our voice because the Board of Elections, as I said, they determine who gets registered, when they get registered, how they get registered, whether your vote counts, when it counts, how it counts, and we get to certify the election.
So who are they that
But
you said they didn't want?
My county board of commissioners, who happen to be majority Republican.
Removing skeptical experts from elections boards lets Kemp, once again, choose his own voters and count his own votes. And dangerously, it opens the door to overturning the presidential vote in 2024.
Trump said to the Secretary of State,
don't, because we're going to challenge.
find me 11,000 votes. How do you find those 11,000 votes?
Well, to find those 11,000 votes, you either have the members of the boards of elections who will not certify the elections and say, no, I think we can disqualify these amount of votes. Well, I'm not going to be a party to that. Whatever the voter intent was, that's what it is.
Griggs suggested that the Justice Department shoot back at the vigilantes with the post-Civil War Ku Klux Klan Act, which makes intimidating a voter a prison time offense.
That's
You
right.
said the Ku Klux Klan law, 1871.
Do it today.
Okay, it's well over, it's a century now.
From yesterday.
But we're in the middle of the new Jim
ass
Crow,
in
Jim
jail.
Crow 2.0. And so we have to use the same means that we used against black codes and Jim Crow to now deal with Jim Crow 2.0, because there is a feeling in this country that certain people, by mere race or ethnicity or gender, are not as fundamentally American and thus not entitled to the protections of American civil rights. So we have to use those civil rights protections to continue to grow access to the franchise, which is why we've used a code that's almost 130 something years old.
And so what we see is a consistency with Kemp, creating mechanisms to actually lift up the violence that has been inflicted on African-American communities. We can even talk about the signing of Senate Bill 202 that was passed shortly after the election in Georgia, where we were able to put these two new senators, an African-American and a Jewish man, in office after we were able to, the state flipped to be a Democratic state. That what we saw immediately coming out of that was a legislative session where they passed this bill, Senate Bill 202. In that bill, it is filled with violence.
For what? Under arrest for what?
And at the same time, right outside the room, went a duly elected official who had every right to be at the signing of a bill.
Why are you arresting her?
She actually was dragged out as if she was a criminal, as if she wasn't human. If you go back to the bill signing, what you will see Governor Kemp sitting under a painting of a plantation. What is more violent than the image of a plantation where people were killed, maimed, stolen, sold, dehumanized, right? And flanked by all white men, as if that is in any form or fashion representative of the state of Georgia.
Kemp's family, had several such plantation houses. But that old cotton-picking wealth has transformed into a company Kemp calls Plantation Partners LLC, part of a portfolio of private forests. He'll cut down these trees for Koch Industries to turn it all into toilet paper.
The governor values this little toilet paper farm at $2.2 million. He's got a lot of others.
Kemp's family was once one of the largest plantation owners in Georgia. Roswell Mills was the manufacturing heart of the Confederate war machine.
Vote them out.
Where Kemp's ancestors made the gray uniforms known as Roswell Gray. And here is one of their grand manor houses.
All built off of the black.
Even the toys taught the children the difference between their happy lives and the lives of those they owned. But to find the original source of their wealth, you have to travel to the humid Savannah coast. Georgia's plantation system was created by the first governor of Georgia and Kemp's family, James Habersham. Habersham became one of the wealthiest men in the South by transforming agriculture. That is, he was first to import captured Africans into Georgia. Sales boomed, even when some of his products committed suicide or died of smallpox on the slavers' ships.
We've been brought up thinking that slavery was always just here in Georgia. That just ain't so. In fact, until just before the Revolutionary War, slavery was against the law because churchgoers like these fought a fierce, bloody battle to prevent slaves from coming to Georgia.
The horrified local farmers who attended this church unanimously petitioned the king to stop the importation of enslaved people. They wrote, "It is shocking to human nature that any race of mankind and their posterity should be sentenced to perpetual slavery." Thomas Jefferson, although a friend of the Habershams, threatened their human trafficking business. Here, at the Habersham Savannah Mansion, Jefferson wrote a draft of the Declaration of Independence, including a long passage that denounced the slave trade. Slavery is a war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty by captivating and carrying Africans into slavery and miserable death. It was the only passage of the Declaration removed by the Continental Congress on the demand of the Georgia delegation, headed by Joseph Habersham. A British visitor, Fanny Kemble, wrote in her diary about the cruelty she witnessed by the notorious slaver, Kemp's ancestor, Roswell King.
The handcuff, the lash, the tearing away of children from parents, of husbands from wives, the labor of body, the despair of mind, the sickness of heart. These are the realities which belong to the system in this country of yours which boasts itself the asylum of the oppressed, the home of freedom.
Ultimately, the families were sold in the largest auction of humans in history. It is remembered today by their great-grandchildren as weeping time. Griffin Lotson directs the Geechee Gullah ring shouters. They preserve their Gullah language and songs from Africa's rice coast, and they brought rice planting technology to the South.
Wow.
Lotson's great-grandmother was sold at the Weeping Time auction.
The phrase that they call weeping time came from the largest slave trade in America's history. Most of those enslaved came from right here on Butler Island.
There's a defiant purpose in preserving this plantation and songs of his Gullah Geechee heritage.
If you suppress the history, you suppress the vote. Yeah, I know a lot about the voter suppression firsthand.
City Councilman Lotson would have been commissioner, but ballots were suspiciously disqualified.
And I lost by one vote.
Oh.
One vote. So you can't just talk about somebody, you know somebody that you're standing with now that have lost an election by one vote.
So how do you say vote suppression in Gullah Geechee?
Oh, vote suppression. My mother would say, there's a dead cat on the line when it comes to voting, which the meaning of that is that something's not right.
So Palace headed to Savannah, where tourists drink cocktails at the riverboat dock. But underneath, you'll find the hidden storage cells where the Habershams kept Africans for auction. At the Georgia Historical Society, Palace met with an expert on the origin of dead cats on the line.
And so a central political issue of Reconstruction was, will Black people, Black men, be given the right to vote? The Klan originally came about as sort of the military arm of the Democratic Party. It was there to suppress voters. It wasn't just there to carry out intimidation against Black people who used to be slaves. You know, they would pull a man out of his bed and say, we heard that you plan to vote. Is that true? Well, yes. And he might be whipped to within an inch of his life. It was really about suppressing the vote more than just intimidating.
After the Civil War, it wasn't only the Klan that meted out vigilante justice. Our modern vigilante tells us about his hero, Doc Holliday.
He was a very educated and kind of a classy guy. One of the things that happened, they liked to go to swim and found out there was about 5 or 6 African-American boys down there swimming, and it really upset John Henry, so he got a shotgun and ran them off. And of course, part of the story is he ran them off with a shotgun. The other story is that he killed a couple of them.
Major Turner, if you could pull up a chair. So tomorrow you're gonna meet this guy.
He doesn't know he's gonna meet you. He doesn't know he's at your house. The house he says you don't live at and that you don't vote from. He doesn't know anything except that he's gonna do his little Southern shtick. But then he'll meet you. What would you hope? What would you hope would happen when you meet this man?
Simple. I'm sorry. I did not fully understand the impact of what I was doing. Whether it's voting or a challenge like that, or whether or not it's someone coming in our churches and killing our people,
Not even from America.
you have to be the ones to do the forgiving.
Ignorant, mentally disturbed individuals. They're savages. Look at them.
I take it you've never been in this house. If you met Mr. Turner, Major, before?
All right, no, sir, never have, but I'm glad to meet him today.
You had filed some challenges to 4,000 voters.
Yes.
Yeah, and including, by the way, you have challenged the right to have Major Turner's ballot counted.
I don't know what that means.
Well, did you send the note to any of those people?
No, I did not.
Ask you a question. Here's Major Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Did you contact Major Turner and tell him?
No, I did
Listen,
not.
I'm challenging your vote.
No, I did not.
My country called and asked me to go help them out in California. I have not missed any opportunities to vote from 1996 since I've been here up until this last election.
Do you want to apologize to this man for what he went through?
I don't. What I will do, Major, I apologize for the problems that you had. I don't know how I can apologize for the process because obviously I don't understand the complete process. So I don't know how I can apologize for that.
How you don't know the process? You're involved in the scheme, homie. You just a fucking coward, like y'all always are. You only can do shit in groups. People get you.
Law says we have to vote.
Power out.
Nobody said we had to
Oh,
count.
a bunch of cowards. Stop crying.
Oh, I vote counted. It's the same.
Your vote gonna still count. They re-register.
I just go through the process.
You still got time.
I or none of my people have any assurance that that vote was actually counted.
And now, a Black voter's ballot getting counted is in more danger because of the impact of 2,000 mules.
We took a look at our 242 mules in Atlanta. So again, this is not grandma out walking her dog. These are, violent criminals sometimes.
Ain't nobody more of a violent.
Donald Trump called it the greatest and most impactful documentary of our time. And Trump is correct. Millions of MAGA believers bought into True the Vote's hysteria, leading to new laws nearly eliminating ballot drop boxes in 16 states, including swing states Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Georgia.
Every state
in 2024, vigilante challenges spread out of Georgia like a virus.
For every election.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, GOP vigilantes have already challenged 16,000 voters.
Hey, Black people, let me make this clear to y'all. Hispanics, Asians, do not let these white people punk you and scare you, okay? They could run the law on you and all that. You get an attorney and you have not done anything wrong, you are not facing no jail time. When all of us stick together and we demand from the government that these laws and these particular people get out of office, and they put recall laws in place for these governors, for whoever is in this state in office, so that when they start acting up doing fuck shit like this, the government has the right to take them immediately out of office, regardless of whether their term is finished or not, and have a special election for somebody who's going to do the fucking job right. You must fight for a recall in every state for every public office. You need a recall for and term limitations for the Supreme Court. You will be able to get all of this if you vote Democratic and then stay on the Democrats for them to change the number of Supreme Court justices on the court so that we could actually get a fair vote to change everything we need to make this country a full, real democracy. So you don't have Klansmen like this running the fucking muck all through America. But let me tell you something. Even before you get to that point, you could shut all these motherfuckers down, right? By simply voting in every election, every time, as much as you can, to put in other people besides these Republicans. Put in the Democrats. Don't even waste your vote on independents because they never get enough votes to make any change. You vote for them, you throwing your damn vote away. All right? So you have to put all of the Democrats into office, those that are going to promote change and want it, people who are not going to be bought and paid for, and people whose offices you're going to call, email, and show up to demanding change. And if they don't give it to you, as soon as it is time for them to get out, get rid of them while you're working on that recall law in every single state for every single office. You can do this, American people. You just got to stay with it and get it accomplished. They don't control shit unless you sit back and let them.
Vigilante groups with names like Pigpen Project are operating in Nevada, Iowa, and we tracked vigilantes in swing state Michigan, where challenges have risen by 55%. In Florida, Trump's lawyer Cleta Mitchell has already challenged 10,000 voters. In Wisconsin, 135,000 voters were challenged. We mapped the challenges and discovered they were almost all in Black precincts of Milwaukee and aimed at students at the University of Wisconsin.
And let me point out, that is voter discrimination along with voter suppression. If those states take that to court, they will be able to have those votes counted, and they will have those laws changed by the judge who will be presiding over that case. This is why you fight back and you don't just sit down and take this bullshit. You fight back. This documentary is good because it brings to your attention the fuck shit they doing behind our backs when we're sleeping at night and talking about dumbass relationships on social media. Pay attention. Change the country with your voter participation.
I get taken off the voter rolls. It's just not fair. So if I'm living in Wisconsin, I would love to have my vote be counted.
And the biggest threat comes from True the Vote, the 2000 Mules crew. In their test run in Georgia, they had 88 vigilante volunteers. In 2024, True the Vote has signed up 40,000 vigilantes, attacking in 43 states. By August, They'd already challenged 851,000 American voters. And in Arizona,
those vigilantes showed up with their weapons and their drones. They had drones going over polling sites, monitoring people, like policing people, and employees scared to go into their office. We sent our teams out to make sure that they would be okay. So when you're showing up at a polling location in militarized or military-looking uniforms, vests.
Y'all got to remember, right? These are just regular, everyday citizens. If they show up to polling sites like that, you do the same. Get your goddamn bulletproof gear. In the states where you can have assault weapons, bring your assault weapons too. And the first person that starts some shit, handle it. Because sometimes in this country, the only way you get the government to act the way that they should is the people got to take a fucking stand against white folks like this that feel like they got the right to police others when they absolutely don't. Them standing there with those bulletproof clothing on and those weapons or whatever they got, that is a threat to people who live in stand your ground states. So if a motherfucker challenges you, stand your goddamn ground the same way they do. I've been telling you this for the longest time, y'all. You got to fight back. You don't let these people pussy you into a corner. They do not have the right to do this. And then you ask the president, you ask the attorney generals of your state, you ask everybody all the way in the chain of command of public office up to the president. We need the National Guard at these polling sites. We need the Army Reserve at these polling sites. Because they ain't going to fuck with the military. The military is over the local police. They will fucking annihilate them.
Goggles and with weapons, or just posting out in front of these boxes, you are trying to intimidate folks who have experienced a history and a legacy of violence.
That's the QAnon shaman whose horns have been clipped. Just got out of prison.
We can't get security on our streets until we reform and secure our elections.
One quick question. They stop people from monitoring the drop boxes. What do we do about that?
Oh, we need to get rid of the drop boxes.
And in Texas, the vigilantes got violent.
He said, help me, with his hand inside his coat. Then when I tried to help him, he pulls out a gun. That is when I was told to get on the ground.
Court records show Aguirre believed Zuniga was driving his work truck around with 750,000 illegal ballots inside. When police got to the scene, they found air conditioning parts inside. No illegal ballots.
The accusation was that I masterminded this scheme to go and forge all of these mail-in ballots.
At 8 seconds each, it'd be about, about 200 years to do that. So it's amazing. You forged all those ballots. So tell me about how you forged the ballots.
First of all, I'm too lazy to sign hundreds of thousands of ballots. I'd be nuts. A vigilante stopped this air conditioning repair guy, said that he was a police officer, had the guy on the ground, telling him, open up the truck, had his pistol out on the guy. I mean, I can imagine how terrorized.
Now, if another Hispanic person would have came and saw that, that is basically a strong arm robbery, right? That man that held that gun to that Hispanic man is not a police officer. He has no fucking authority in this country to do that. His whiteness does not give him the privilege or the okay to do that to anybody. So if one of the Hispanic man's homeboys would have came around with a gun in his belt and blew that motherfucker's head off, he would have been totally in the right, because who the fuck is this vigilante to be putting a gun to somebody's head? Y'all pay attention to people and understand that when people play games like that with you and you get close enough to them, you watch their hands. Always watch their hands. You watch the empty hand, the hand that's missing. Because if that Spanish man would have got close enough to him when he had his hand in his fucking jacket, he would have bent his fucking wrist back towards his body with that gun in it, and either made him shoot himself or been able to take that fucking gun from him. Y'all have to pay attention to people and get close enough to put fucking hands on them when they try all of this gun shit.
He was.
The gunman was not a lone wolf. He was one of dozens of armed vigilantes hired by an election-denying billionaire.
Was arraigned on felony charges of unlawful restraint and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in connection with a badly botched, privately bankrolled investigation of alleged election fraud.
It's good they bring this out in this video for y'all to understand. This is why you always walk around strapped with a bulletproof vest and bulletproof pants if you have them. You walk around with the ability to communicate with people, not just a cell phone. Sometimes you need a two-way radio or a walkie-talkie to let people know I need help, whatever the case may be. And you pay attention to your surroundings. Keep your distance so that if you have to take cover and return fire, that's what you do. And don't forget your hunting knife in case somebody's comes up on you unexpectedly and you can't get to your weapon. You can still deal with people with knives, because people are sometimes more afraid of knives than they are of guns. Remember these things and start taking your self-defense seriously.
Fraud.
There were people outside my home with signs one day saying, "Stop the steal." So one idiot is out there with a rifle on his shoulder. So now there's a real fear of it. I take the security now. It's a real concern. I mean, the level of vitriol out there is just amazing.
Ellis was a target because, during COVID, the commissioner was about to mail out ballots to all voters in Houston. He was blocked by the Texas Attorney General, who crowed that
Harris County mail-in ballots that they wanted to send out were 2.5 million, and we were able to stop every one of them. Had we not done that, Donald Trump would have lost the election.
And back in Georgia, in 2024, they passed a new law giving even more power to vigilante vote challengers.
So I fully expect 2024 to be the wild, wild west when it comes to election challenges.
And you know what, Black folks? This is why all you Black people in the South, the Midwest, and in these ridiculous ass Republican states like Texas, California, oh my God, and all the rest of them, you're allowed to carry guns. You need to have them. You need to have your vests. You need to be calling all the information they're going to give you in here about the voter suppression. Y'all need to get together, do class action lawsuits, get to these attorneys in these states so that your vote can be counted. It doesn't end with these white people trying to suppress your vote. You have to challenge this shit in court so that there could be either a recall or none of the votes get certified so that all the votes can be counted properly. This is why it's important to know everything about voter information and your civic duties, how civic works, and your rights as a voter. This is why it's important. Because these people can't do shit to you when you know what to do back to them.
So if there was 180,000 challenged before, I'm looking at more, maybe 300 to 400,000. So they'll have unlimited voter challenges both before and after the election. So vigilantes are going to be out in mass. Yes, they want to make it easier to challenge and harder to vote.
Why is Georgia always seem to be creating the blueprints for voting?
This is the time now. Y'all need to be calling for the National Guard and for the Army Reserves to be at those polls. This is what you should be calling for. Call for it so that you have protection and that these vigilante people get stopped in their tracks, because no local office is above the military in this country.
Vote suppression.
Well, we are the Deep South. We are the place where the Southern strategy began, both Georgia and Alabama. The new Southern strategy is beginning here.
In the 1960s, the GOP's Southern strategy included Operation Eagle Eye, challenging Black and Hispanic voters right in the polling station.
You may have heard of something called Operation Eagle Eye. Well, a better name for it would be Operation Evil Eye. One of its objectives is to frighten you and others by frivolously challenging your right to vote. It has been launched in nearly every state in the Union.
Eagle Eye recruits also patrolled certain wards of the city in mobile units equipped with two-way radios, ready to pounce on the nearest irregularity.
Spanish-speaking neighborhood, go ahead. Southbound Class W9HGX Mobile is on the way with the Eagle crew.
Eagle Eye has returned as Eagle AI, utilizing artificial intelligence to modernize Klan-style challenges. A group of wealthy Christian nationalists has launched Operation Checkmate, a secret plan to use Eagle AI to challenge 280,000 voters in Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and Wisconsin.
They said that my address was a problem with my address, which it shouldn't be because I'm in the same county.
The issue was black voting. Whites figured out that there were other less violent ways to achieve the same ends. And the 15th Amendment, which expressly forbid anyone being kept from voting because of their color. Well, how do you get around that? Later in the Jim Crow period, of course, you've got the infamous jelly bean jar. If you were able to guess how many jelly beans were in the jar, then you can vote. When white people come in to register, you never ask them for their poll tax receipt. You don't ask them to read the Constitution. That's exclusively done to black people.
The 15th Amendment's protection of black voting rights came to an end when in 1876, Southern white Democrats cut a deal with Northern Republicans to have Congress overturn the presidential election.
When the election of 1876 took place, the eventual winner, who was Rutherford B. Hayes, who was a Republican, was behind in the popular vote, and he was also behind in the Electoral College. So competing slates of electors, Democrats and Republicans, it was going to be up to Congress to decide which of those was legitimate.
The election came down to one man, as it would a century and a half later.
And this man was going to single-handedly decide who the president was going to be. We saw Mike Pence in that situation recently, who said one man shouldn't decide the presidency.
I need to speak to you for a second.
Okay.
You're not going to believe this. It's insane. It's crazy. They heard the word Mike Pence. They stopped the whole interview. They said, we can't film. And they said, you know, we got to protect our new corporate donors on our board.
Welcome to the 2022 Trustees Gala.
Especially grateful for the support of Chick-fil-A, the Home Depot Foundation,
A who's who of Georgia's corporate elite, whose histories are protected by the Georgia Historical Society.
Georgia Power. That's the company where I did an investigation of racketeering, political bribery and corruption, and suspected murder. Nice guys. So this is the guy.
Yeah, got to protect them. The CEO of Georgia Pacific.
You know, that's Koch Industries, Koch brothers.
ladies and gentlemen, to induct the 2022 Georgia Trustees, please welcome.
Oh, God.
And here's the man who appointed them all.
The Honorable Brian Kemp.
Governor Brian Kemp is preparing to sign a number of bills into law that will impact every student across the state.
Yeah, it does a few things here. It would speed up the process to ban books, make it easier
House
to...
Bill 1084 bans the teaching of divisive concepts. It ensures all of our state and nation's history is taught accurately.
Ain't nothing but accurately. Y'all are fucking trash motherfuckers.
No child in Georgia will have to learn
And if your people rose
that the Klan elected their governors.
power to do this.
No child in Georgia will have to learn that Mr. Kemp's wealth came from Africans brought here in chains. Or watch this film in school. Kemp was not the first to threaten teachers for teaching history.
As president, I was proud to issue the world's first ban on critical race theory in September of 2020.
Which Biden revoked his first day in office. Following Georgia, other states are passing so-called divisive concept laws. Notably, states that passed new vote suppression laws.
White laws is what they need to be called. The dynasties that have ruled America
are not about to give up their rule. It's about their power and their privileges. And they're not going to let voters take it away.
Oh yeah, you are, because that's what's going to
And they're
happen.
prepared to stop those voters by any means necessary.
Back to.
It hurts me, it bothers me when someone says, it doesn't matter whether I vote or not.
Yes, it does matter.
I'm just worried.
Our nation is witnessing a merciless campaign to wipe out our history,
No, you trying to
defame our heroes, erase our values,
You don't have heroes.
and indoctrinate
You
our
have
children.
papers as a history. You are Klansmen. Blue is what you get. You fucking 2K.
Law enforcement is going to the houses and places of employment and making people afraid to go out and exercise their rights.
Don't be afraid of them, y'all.
And today to come out and not be able to vote, it bothers me to my core.
Whose vote? My vote, not his.
We're seeing, Civil War Part 2.
Time to do something. Time to do
Yeah, we're
something.
gonna do something, white man. We're gonna
don't get it back in November.
The good news is that there's a new South Rising. There is a new South Rising. We're building a base of people who actually believe in America that is more just and more equitable. That is literally going to make a shift.
We are a new generation.
Right.
From the wild to the right. It's all pieces. Freedom and mountain go. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God said it's gonna jump in the water.
I got to see some of the worst and ugliest aspects of America. At the same time, some of the greatest. I got to see people that had nothing eventually have something. I got to see what Martin said when he said little black boys and little white girls walk hand in hand together. They're getting married now. The face of our nation, the thought process is changing. Yes, there are those that resent this.
Listen, we don't want to hear that old slavery fucking kumbaya shit from this black dude. What we need to do as a people is to vote all of these racist white Republicans and all the rest that go along with them, the blacks, Hispanics, all of them that don't believe in a real democracy out of office, and don't ever let them back in. Don't be fooled for a minute. Everything you've seen on this video is not the end all be all. Everybody who's not allowed to vote can challenge that shit, and you will get your turn to vote. And the government can stop every one of these states from certifying those votes, recounting them, and then certifying the total vote after everybody has put their complaints in. Do not let these fuckers scare you. Stand up to them with your whole fucking chest, because that's their problem. They have been living off the fear of reputation and non-black people and black people believing in these pieces of shit being superior to you, instead of you standing up and saying, no, you not, motherfucker. No, you're not. And I'm going to show you by fighting back, voting, getting into office, and getting you motherfuckers out. That's how you handle it, folks. That is how you handle it.
But that too shall pass. We just have to know that as a nation, we're stronger and better than all of that.
That ain't saying nothing.
Water used to come through here high, real high. They would throw blacks over here. I do believe that the spirits is crying out for justice from the grave.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I said, when I grow up, I would like to come here and try to dig up those bones of those black folk and give them a proper burial.
But spirits drowned will rise. America is a haunted house, and our ruling dynasties have gone to war with its ghosts, the ghosts of our history. Until America hears these spirits, neither they nor we will be set free.
All right, I had enough of that. All right, guys. Now I'm going to show y'all how to fight back, okay? This is how you fight back. Remember, I told you, they don't have the last say on shit because they are not the end all be all. This is how you fight back, okay? What you're going to do is you vote early, okay? Everywhere you can. You're going to do I'm going to read this so that y'all know this is how you fight back. Vote early. With vigilantes on the loose, vote as early as possible. So if you're challenged, you'll have the time to contest the challenge, and in some states, re-register. In Wisconsin, Nevada, Michigan, and other states, you can re-register on election day. Demand a registration form and a regular ballot. Keyword, regular ballot, not provisional ballot. Regular ballot. Register. You better check now. Think. You're registered to vote? Think again. With all this purging going on, you could be X'd out and you won't know it. Check online right now at vote.org. That's for everybody, no matter where you live. You'll get the drop downs to put in where you live to find out what's going on. I witnessed a 92-year-old voter tossed out of a polling station because she'd been purged from the rolls after 50 years voting at the same place. Let's stop there for a moment. That don't matter. If you check before, you have time to re-register. You have time to get a regular ballot. They cannot stop you from voting. Those days are long gone. But by the time we read the end of this, we're going to know the number to reach the attorneys in case you run into a problem. The attorneys are going to be there so that they will challenge the voters. They will stand up for the voters who were challenged by these unofficial people who have decided to kick you off the registration to try to get this Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard Trump into office when he does not belong there. All right, let's keep going. So she was purged off the rolls after 50 years voting at the same place. This was Christine Jordan, Martin Luther King Jr.'s cousin. We saw her, right? Since then, you already know, which I didn't like about this documentary. They needed to tell us the resolution to the stories, not just try to pull on our emotions, but let us know. They can do all of this ridiculous shit, but you can fight back. You can fight back because you have a legal right in this country to vote, and not no white motherfucker can stop you from doing it. So after that, check your registration at vote.org, then check again. You got to check it all the way up to the early voting, right? And again, when you get in there, if you find out that you are not registered, even after you check, all right, motherfuckers, okay. You ask for a regular ballot, not a provisional ballot, because a provisional ballot is bullshit. It does not cast a vote. You're going to take your regular ballot, you're going to fill that shit out, and you're not going to leave it with them. You are going to mail it through the post office. And then you're going to go through your state's regular process of making a complaint against the voter location you went to, letting them know you were denied to vote. And then you're going to contact this 800 number down here, Our Vote, for all the lawyers that will be on standby to help challenge the voters who were challenged off of the ability to vote. That is how you do it. So let me read it again without the interruption. Registered, you better check now. Think you're registered to vote, think again. With all the purging going on, you could be X'd out and you won't know it. Check online right now at vote.gov. I witnessed a 92-year-old voter tossed out of a polling station because she'd been purged from the rolls after 50 years voting at the same place. This was Christine Jordan, Martin Luther King Jr.'s cousin. Check your registration at vote.org, then check again. Don't go postal unless you must. 1 in 7 mail-in ballots are disqualified for Picayune errors. I don't even know how to say that word. Picayune errors, including postage due. But mail in your ballot if you like. Wait a minute. Let me do this again. I don't understand what they're saying. Don't go postal unless you must. 1 in 7 mail-in ballots are disqualified for Picayune errors, including postage due. But mail in your ballot if you, like me, you can't appear in person. Fill out the ballot carefully. Some states allow you to track the status of your mail-in ballot. Let me tell y'all something about that. I don't give a fuck what they're saying. If you get a regular ballot, you mail that motherfucker in, because the post office is a federal office. It is a federal place where the federal government is verifiable. And if you send in your ballot, there is a thing in the post office called a certificate of mailing. You could send it registered mail, but a certificate of mailing is a little white piece of paper that usually costs like $1.10, right? You fill out that paper. It says where you're sending it to, whose mail. It says to and from, right? Who's sending it and where you're sending it to. The post office will stamp that certificate of mailing. It's called certification of mailing. They'll stamp it. You get a receipt. It shows that you literally sent that off. So that way, if you ever have to deal with the lawyers that will take up your case because you were challenged at a voting location, you have the proof that you mailed off your ballot, and any shit they do to tamper with that ballot, you have proof that you sent it, and it will hold up in court. Believe me when I tell you, okay? And you can use that certificate of mailing in any legal situation you have in court, where if you have to send something and prove that you sent it, that is the best way to do it, because the stamp of the post office is verified. It holds weight in court. No one can challenge that. If the post office says they mailed it, it's a federal agency. The judge will say, God damn it, it was mailed because the post office said so. Period. All right, let's get back to it, right? So fill out your ballot carefully. That is true. Write, print carefully, sign your name carefully, fill out the boxes carefully. Don't smudge, don't write over. And when you do this, all of us have cell phones these days. Take a picture of how it looked when you sent it off. Take a picture of you or a video of you putting it in the mailbox or giving it to the teller, whatever you got to do, so that you could prove that you did it in addition and the condition you sent it in. All that's important because you have to think ahead of the bullshit they may try. All right. Fill out your ballot carefully. Some states allow you to track the status of your mail-in ballot. We already covered that. You could do it by registered mail. You could do it. The best way to do it is certification of mail, certificate of mailing. Certificate of mailing is the best way. It's a little white paper that says certificate of mailing. They stamp it to and from. It proves that the post office received your mail and has sent it. Avoid the provisional placebo ballot. This is what I'm telling you. They will push this provisional ballot bullshit. That means they just giving you a piece of paper they're going to throw in the garbage. You're not going to have a vote to count. Avoid the provisional placebo ballot. If you've been purged or challenged, you'll be handed a provisional ballot. It's what I call a placebo ballot. You think you voted, but you haven't. The Federal Elections Assistance Commission reports that in 2016 presidential election, 2.7 million provisional ballots were not counted. Instead, fuck a provisional ballot. Tell them to give you a regular ballot, right? Even if they tell you, oh, well, you won't be registered in enough time for your vote to count. You tell them that's okay. Give me the regular ballot anyway, my girl, right? You mail that shit off anyway with the certificate of mailing and your little video and your picture of the condition you sent it off in, right? And then you're going to call 1-866-OUR-VOTE, whose lawyers are on standby, will help you challenge the challengers, okay? So when you get to those polls, and there will probably be in certain states, different organizations out in front of those polling sites to challenge those challenger people, to help you with the very thing that I'm saying. They're called action groups. But you want to keep that in your phone. You want to keep the lawyers on standby who are going to challenge the challengers in your phone. So you're going to put in your phone lawyers for provisional ballots or challenge voters, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. You're going to call them and they're going to handle it. Again, these are the action groups that are going to help you if you were told your vote has been challenged, or if they tell you you can't vote, whatever the case may be. You ask for a regular ballot, a regular voter's ballot, or you go to the post office right now, ask for one, or call up your voter's registration office and get one sent to your house. It doesn't matter. So call 866-OUR-VOTE to get an attorney on the line immediately if you're having voting problems. 866-OUR-VOTE. The action groups to contact if you have voter problems: Georgia NAACP, Texas what does that say? Transformative. Oh, I'm sorry, not Texas. Transformative Justice Coalition, Rainbow Push Coalition, Jesse Jackson, and Black Voters Matter. File a complaint with the Department of Justice if your vote has been challenged. File a complaint. We're going to click it in a minute, right? I never use the term vote suppression because when someone steals your car, you don't say my car has been suppressed. Your vote has been stolen, not suppressed. That was a quote by this man, George Palast, who made this film. All right, let's go on here. You're going to file a complaint. And this is the Department of Justice. Remember, you contact the Department of Justice to report a civil rights violation. The website is civilrights.justice.gov. You're going to go in here. You're going to put your name, your first name, your last name, your email address, your phone number, your mailing address, zip code. Are you now or have you ever been an active duty service member? Answer the question. Click next. Is it going to take us to the next? Or it wants me to fill it out. But this is how you're going to fill it out, right? And then down here is the contact information for the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. Y'all hold on to this information. Never lose it, because this is important for everything in life where your civil rights have been violated. I'm going to put this website below of this video. All right, so let's get back to the video now, y'all, now that we didn't finish that. This video is going to be a little long. You know what? Let me stop it and do the other video because it's too much in one video. All right, so I'm going to put this website down below, and I'm going to end this video and begin another one with the other because it's too much in one video. All right, you guys, what I want you to do, right, is I want you to understand that nobody, wait, let me take this down and put the stuff up for you to see it. Let's hide this, right? And then we're going to put it in here. But this is what I want y'all to do. Department of Justice voter complaint. All right, let's get into it. All right, here we go. We're going to put, the website is Civil Rights. I'm going to put it below, but I want y'all to also see it too. Civil Rights Justice right? And do they have, let me see if they have a phone number for y'all. This is to Washington, D.C., right? The toll-free number is, let me write that down so I don't forget it. Hold on, y'all. It's 1-855-856-1247. All right, let me put that there. This is what I'm telling y'all. Never feel defeated, never feel helpless. This is America. There's 1,000,001 fucking ways to right or wrong when you fight hard enough, because Black people fought and died to make it so. And we ain't about to let Trump and none of his fucking cronies take it away from us. This is why when Black women and other women of color and even some white women and a lot of white men that were, doing the phone calls for Kamala, this is why when we said to y'all, take voting seriously. Do not sit at home on the couch talking about your vote don't count. It does, because you have clearly seen through the history of this little documentary that they are suppressing the vote because they're afraid of everybody in America who is non-white to have an equal say and to be equally participating in the government of this country, so that there is no more a such thing of a second-class citizen in America, and that all people who come here, whether they're citizens or not citizens, they have a right to try to pursue this so-called American dream and live a comfortable life in this country without worrying about all this hatred and fear-mongering from white people like Donald Trump, who want to have chaos instead of harmony and inclusion of all people, so that people can take care of their children, live well, and get the fuck out of poverty. That is what all of this fighting is about. These people, Donald Trump and the people like him who are suppressing people's votes, Hispanics and Black people's votes, is because they want to keep the country the way it is currently, where white people have everything and everybody else has whatever the fuck is left over. That is not how this country supposedly was created to be, right? You can make that change today. When Kamala is saying we're not going back, we're going forward, that's what the fuck she's talking about. To finally create and to give birth to an America where every fucking body is included. And there's no longer you hating on a fucking Hispanic migrant or immigrant, or hating on a Haitian, or hating on anybody. But everybody is given a chance here to live their life to the fucking fullest, depending on what they want to do in this country, and to them to have access to become a representative of the people, and to stop having all these white people monopolize everything in this country, because they're selfish fucking savages that don't want to do anything but reap the rewards and have a great life and have everybody else suffer. You see this. Look at this Kemp motherfucker. Look at what is his name in Florida? DeSantis. Look at him. Look at what's Abbott. Look at all these people. These are nothing but racist bigots who don't have a right to any of this shit. The only reason why any of these people have money is because they fucking were slave owners. They only have money because of people who look like me. And then they don't want to give back anything while they're still living off of us then and now. You have a chance to change all of that by ushering in a new fucking guard, a new way for this country to be led, to get rid of this old white supremacy bullshit and have true inclusion of women and people of color and everybody. We not inferior to a motherfucker. Stop allowing them to live on these pedestals of superiority and usher a fucking change into this country. It is overdue, y'all. It is way overdue. All right, I'm done. Have a good day. Get out there and vote. And if you have any problems in your voter polls or voter sites or voter locations, make a complaint to the Department of Justice right away. Do not hesitate. Before you leave that site, make your complaint. Either go online, file a complaint from your phone, tablet, portable, whatever desktop you have, whatever you got. Make the complaint. Call the number before you leave. Speak to the attorneys that are going to be waiting for your call to tell you exactly what to do, to follow up, to make sure you get to vote and that your vote counts. That's what you need to do, okay? All right. I'm going to end this here. I'll drop another video with the other information that I wanted to talk about in regards to parenting Black people, trauma of Black people, psychology, etc. Have a good day. You know, I'm very emotional about this. We are 30 days, like a month out for this to happen, and we need Black women to get their ass out there and think about your rights, your daughter's rights, your granddaughters, and every woman you know. You want to make sure that you do not allow Trump into office, because if he gets into office, you will not have any rights again until your grandchildren are probably elderly in their 80s and 90s. You don't want to take that chance, because these white people are trying to take control of this country and get rid of everybody who's not white. I don't understand why that shit is not clicking for all of y'all. When you see people telling you they want to destroy a country and destroy you with it, why the fuck are you standing still? Fight back with all the fucking passion and emotion you have in you to make sure those motherfuckers don't win. There's more of us than it is of them. Stand together. Unity and solidarity will get you through the hardest of fucking times. Believe in yourself. These people are only strong because you believe you're weak. They don't got shit on their side besides the indoctrination of you thinking you inferior to these motherfuckers who ain't worth shit. Fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. Be good. Make sure you do what you got to do to make sure you get to vote. Have a good day. This is really crazy. Like, you gotta stop believing all this bullshit that they constantly bombard you with all the time and making you believe that you don't have a way to win. You do. We are not helpless. We are not hopeless. We are stronger than you believe yourself to be. As soon as you get educated to know what you got to do, decide to fight and fucking win. It's really that simple, y'all. It's really that goddamn simple. That's it. Because regardless of the governor, there are people in that state and the government itself that are over that governor that can take that piece of shit out, and that could actually put charges on him and get him the fuck out of office. This is why you fight. Even the attorney general is not the end all be all. You got people over them too. That leads into your actual representatives in the government. And those are the people in the Department of Justice who will do the investigation and come put the fucking cuffs on their hands and drag them out. That's what you want to happen. That's why you don't sit down. You don't let them make you afraid. You don't let them stop you from doing what you got to do. You document everything. And if you have to tape everything while you make your complaint to the Department of Justice and call for those lawyers, you do what you got to do to make sure they don't steal this election. Because they always running their mouth about people stealing elections when these are the most criminal-minded motherfuckers in the game, because they know they can't win on their own, so they got to cheat and they got to steal. This is who and what they are made up of as grimy fucking individuals. Don't let them do it to you. Fight back. Let them know truthfully, I'm not going, and you're not just going to do any old fucking thing you feel like doing to me, because I'm not going to let you. It's that simple, y'all. All right, have a good day. I'm out. Have a great day. Go vote. Take other people with you to vote. Do not sit there and let these people intimidate you into not voting. Your vote counts. Your vote counts so much, they got to fucking challenge people and throw you off the registration rolls because they know you are that powerful. Stand in your fucking power and go vote. Be well.